Hey there, Morbid Maniacs! It's time for another spooky video, a part of Vlogtober. And for tonight's spooky video, I'm going to be talking about haunted places in Salem, Massachusetts, because I just recently made a video talking about the witch trials, and I'm pretty sure from my research that Salem is a very haunted place. And so I am going to be talking about some of the most haunted places in Salem. The first one on the list is known as Murphy's Pub. The back corner of Salem's old Burying Point Cemetery, closest to Murphy's Pub and Restaurant, is apparently a hot spot for the paranormal. People have reportedly spotted a Victorian-era lady in a powder blue dress, a full-bodied apparition of a boy there with a picnic basket. Before the space was Murphy's, it was called Roosevelt's, and Roosevelt's former owner claims he had a face-to-face encounter with a female apparition while he was working alone one night. Then there is the infamous casket that burst through the restaurant's walls. Tim McGuire, co-owner of Salem Night Tour, says he's heard stories and has seen convincing photographs supporting claims that a casket did indeed break through the restaurant's wall. It looked like it was a casket of a small child, possibly a girl. He claims, that corner of the cemetery is where the Irish Catholics were buried, so I'm not surprised that it's extremely active. This graveyard is home to many key figures responsible for the 1692 Salem witch trial. One of the people laid to rest in this cemetery is Judge Hawthorne, or the Hanging Judge. Many visitors have reported Judge Hawthorne appearing on their film after a night spent photographing different graves. The next on the list, and probably one of the most creepiest, is known as the Joshua Ward House. The house stands where Sheriff George the Strangler Corwin used to sit. He was one of the most brutal interrogators and witch killers in the history of Salem. He had developed numerous cruel methods for getting witches to admit their allegiance to Satan. The Strangler was responsible for the legal torture and murder of 19 men and women who were accused of practicing witchcraft between 1692 and 1693. And much of these punishments occurred in a jail constructed in Corwin's own cellar. Corwin was also responsible for the death of Giles Corey, one of the Salem witch trial's most famous alleged warlocks. Corey refused to confess to the crime, even after days of torture. So Corwin had come up with an even more painful way to force the man to admit his crimes. As it turns out, some believe that Corey may very well have had some supernatural ability, because just 4 years later, Corwin had died of a massive heart attack. And his body was buried in the basement of the house he tortured so many people to death in. Today, the Joshua Ward House sits on the very location of George Corwin's personal torture chamber, though his body was moved many years ago. That certainly hasn't stopped the house from being one of the most active buildings in town. Unsurprisingly, both Giles Corey and George the Strangler Corwin are both said to haunt the building. There's another ghost, however, who has captured the curiosity of paranormal investigators from all over the world, thanks to one very strange photo. The Joshua Ward House is also haunted by the ghost of an unnamed woman believed to have been tortured and killed at the hands of the Strangler. The restless spirit was photographed by a Carlson reality realtor named Dale Lewinsky. who had been snapping Polaroids for an upcoming listing of the home. It wasn't until she returned home that she noticed the ghostly woman standing in the house's doorway. So this photo I'm going to show for you guys, and I think it's really, really freaking creepy. Over the years, countless people have claimed to experience paranormal activity in the Joshua Ward house, ranging anywhere from the discovery of warm candle wax in candleless rooms to the manifestation of burning scratches on arms and back. Some have even reported being strangled by a pair of phantom hands that many have blamed on the angry ghost of George Corwin himself. He often is responsible for trash cans being kicked over, books being pulled from shelves, cold spots, and it is said that George Washington himself was said to have stayed there. The next creepy haunted place in Salem is called the Hawthorne Hotel. Built on an apple orchard owned by Bridget Bishop, the First Lady executed for witchcraft in the 1692 witch trials, Hawthorne Hotel is known to be one of the most actively haunted places in Salem. Many visitors to the hotel have made claims to smell apples throughout the hotel, despite there being no apples on the menu. Guests have also reported seeing a female apparition walking up and down the hall, pausing at certain doors. The property is apparently haunted by a lady in a long white period-style dress, and she is most often seen on the staircase. Many believe that it is Bridget who is the lady in white. There are also said to be a few other spirits hanging around, and there have been reports of apparitions, light anomalies, and electrical malfunctions. Many guests report feelings of uneasiness, and all the more so in rooms 325 and 612, which supposedly have strange plumbing and lighting problems, not to mention disembodied voices that wake people during the night. So the next creepy place on my list is St. Mary's Cemetery. Witnesses have seen a ghostly gray figure walking alongside them, have felt unpleasant vibes from the forest down the hill. There have been sounds of claws on the path and a waist highlight that appeared near the top of the hill. That was all I could find on that one, but I found it very spooky from the different places that I found. The next spooky place in Salem is known as Wicked Good Books. So, recent renovations, which were undertaken when the store was purchased by a new owner, uncovered some troubling things. Hidden tunnel systems underneath the store were discovered, which led to Derby Square. These were apparently used to smuggle goods and humans many years ago. What is most troubling is that there were human remains found within the tunnels, and there are rumors that 2 fugitive slaves may still be entombed down there. This terrifying discovery was able to shed a little light onto why paranormal events such as poltergeist activity were happening within Wicked Good Books, where books were literally flying off of shelves. So the last place on my list is actually really funny. It has a really funny name, and it's known as Bunghole Liquors. Yes, you heard me say that right. I said bunghole. There's a colorful history to the original Bunghole liquor store in bewitching Salem, Massachusetts. You see, the Bunghole used to be a funeral home, and during Prohibition, the owner and his buddies, like many others at the time, used a slang word to refer to their secret drinking spot in the basement. The slang term they used was bunghole, as in, psst, meet you tonight at the bunghole. Liquor flowed freely in the funeral parlor basement, the same place where the bodies were embalmed. One of the drinking buddies is rumored to have told the owner, if Prohibition is ever lifted, you should turn this place into a liquor store. So in 1933, when Prohibition was lifted, the owner did just that. Interestingly, a Polish priest who was being ordained suggested the bunghole as the official name. The Bunghole received the second liquor license issued in Salem after Prohibition. And if you climbed stairs and tore down a few walls today, you'd notice the embalming tubes and no doubt a few empty flasks left behind from the ancestors of the Bunghole, who occasionally haunt their old secret hangout. It's also said to be haunted by a phantom cat and a female spirit which is said to stay near the wine racks. So those were my creepy places that you can visit in Salem. But there were so many more. I believe that the entire town of Salem is haunted, honestly. And I would love to go and visit there someday. I would love to go to some of these places and investigate. If I ever do, you guys know that I am going to be making a video on that. Let me know, have you ever been to any of these places, and have you ever experienced anything creepy? I would love to know, so leave me a comment. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a big old thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you have not already, and become a morbid maniac. And I will see you guys in my next video.